In this video, we are going to actually incorporate the grid design or display into our website. So I have this mock-up of what we want, or what we've been working on with our staff page. And down here, I'm going to add a section for the customers. We're going to have basically a large container here that's going to have a customer header and description. It'll have a customer image in the bottom left, and then two quote sections. And you can see this is probably a good application of the grid, because we essentially have these different boxes, but they're allocated different amounts of space. In the mockup, I've also included the grid column and rows. We'll go from 1, 2, 3, and 4 rows, and the columns will go 1, 2, and 3. So to begin, let's just start by not worrying about the content. Let's just see if we can get this shape in order. So I'm going to go over here. I've also added a customer picture as well. You'll need one in a second. So get a customer image that you can use. And let's go to our website. We are in then we call it the About page. We have all these barista and owner sections. Let's do another section called Inner Box. Oops. Got a little tangled up there. This is HTML. Okay. So we have this inner box section, and then we need to make our own way with what this grid is going to be. So we need to go about designing it. I'm going to create a container for this. So I'm going to call this div, and the class I'm just going to call container, because I don't think we've done that in this example. We have a CSS page called the About. Let's open that up as well. Got lots of sections here. Let's scroll to the bottom, and let's make a section for our container. I have them side by side for now. Okay. Now inside, we essentially have 1, 2, 3, 4 things. We have the header, the image, and the two quotes. Each of these we can give its own description. So I'll call this customer header. We also have the customer image. I might call these IDs just because we're only going to have one of them. So I should be using hashtag here, customer image. And then div quote 1, I'll just say, and then we'll have a quote 2. I'm not too worried about the order of these divs because, again, we have control to specify where we want them in our grid layout. So you can actually mix up this order because eventually we're just going to move it around anyway. So we have each of these divs here. We might want to give them a class as well. Or maybe I can show you a small trick we can use. So to start, we need a display of grid. And we need to do grid template columns. As a reminder, we have we have only 2 columns. We have 3 column lines, but just 2 columns. So I can just do auto twice. So I don't need to do it a third time. Okay, what else do I need? Maybe we want a background color for this. I'm just going to do antique white for now. Let's just look at how it looks in a second. And these divs here, we might want to give them a little padding or space. We didn't add a class, but we can cheat a little bit. If we do .container and then this caret symbol, it says the things inside the .container. So if I do div here, this means apply this style to any div tags inside the .container. So it applies to all of these items. That way we don't have to go and write a class for each of them. So it saves us a little bit of time. Let's do a background color. I'll go back and maybe change this in a little bit, but let's just do this cadet blue. Okay. Let's add a little padding. And then let's check out what it looks like. Okay. Maybe I should add a border too, just so we can see these sections being delineated. Border. 2 pixels, black, solid. Also, I'm going to add a little padding in our outside container. 10 pixels. Let's see how this is looking. Okay. Just going to check to make sure you guys can see this. I think my camera is covering up a little bit, but you can see down here there are 4 looking containers. So we have the 4 sections. I am just going to, let me see if I can do it this way. Okay, so we're looking down here at these 4 sections. Let's orientate them with a little bit more space. So let's think about how we want to allocate each of these elements. Let's start with the customer heading description. Right now, each of these 4 things is being given just 1 row, 1 column. But we want this header here to take up 2 columns. So it's going to start at column 1 and go to column 3. Let's try that. So we want to look at our first element right here, this ID, this customer header. So let's do hashtag customer header. Let's do grid column start at 1. And then we want it to end at 3. So same thing, grid column end at 3. Let's give it a little refresh here. Okay. Again, I keep forgetting to put this at the top, but there we go. So now it's taking up the full width here. All right, what's next? We want the customer image to now take up just the first, or like the second and third row. So we need to specify the grid row start and the grid row end. Let's do 2 all the way to 4. So that's for the customer image. Hashtag customer image. Grid row start. And again, we said start at 2, end at 4. 2. And 4 is where we'll end. We might have to change the columns as well, but we'll see how this looks before we go that far. And I need to find my page. Let's get a refresh. Okay. And now we have that section here. And actually, we don't even have to do anything with the other quotes. You can notice here that the quotes have kind of been properly aligned, because basically take up the remaining space. They do 1 column and 1 row. So now we have this format that we're looking for. Let's go ahead and fill some of this out. I know the page doesn't look that great, but at least we're just practicing how we can just write in this. So inside, maybe I'll do a color of white so we can see the text. And then inside the div, let's do an H1, do customers, paragraph here, or here is what our customers are saying. Inside the customer image, let's add an image. I have an images folder, and I gave myself a customer photo. You can go find one. We might have to fill that out. We might have to fill out the width and height here, but for now we're okay. Inside each of these quotes, let's do just blank quotes. I really like your coffee. And the service was excellent. Let's save that. Let's see how we're looking here. Okay. Maybe some work we could do. Why don't we make this image a little bit smaller? Let's do maybe a width of 200. Give it a little refresh. Okay. And now that's looking a little bit nicer. And so there's definitely work we could do here with the CSS and the styling. Maybe we should change the colors, but for now, I'm just going to leave it just so we can concentrate on the grid layout. So you can see this is, although it's a little time consuming in terms of like measuring out the rows and columns, it gives you a lot of power over how you want to orientate your content. You basically have full control over where you want to stretch and grow these things. So this works really well if you have maybe asymmetric pieces, things that take up different space depending on how you want them to be viewed. All right, and that is a rundown of how we can apply grid to our website.